Welcome everybody, this is Louis from LoukProp and today we are back with our new series called Real Reviews by LoukProp. Yes, we came out with the name today. In this new segment, we will be giving real and unbiased reviews of launches in Singapore so that you get a little bit more in-depth analysis of all these launches before you actually go down and make a purchase. Right, so let's start off with our next new launch review, which is Florence Residences. Florence Residences has been one of the highest selling projects in 2020 and also the reason why a lot of you viewers have been asking for a review of this place. So let's get to it. For this review, we will be basing it off of these 5 major factors as well. Location, right, accessibility, development quality and finishes, price point, potential rental yield, and stack selection. Now let's dive into the first one. Location and accessibility. So Florence Residences is actually sitting on an en-bloc site, right, and houses 1,410 units. It's actually right opposite Hougang Stadium, which is also along Hougang Avenue 2. Now, if you're talking about accessibility to MRT stations, it is actually in between Hougang Station and Kovan Station. Right? To Hougang Station is about 14 minutes walk, and to Kovan MRT is actually 16 minutes walk. Not exactly walking distance, but if you want to have a faster transit to all these MRT stations, you can take a bus, which is about 2 to 3 bus stops away. As for malls in the area, the closest mall to it right now is actually Hougang Mall, which is at Hougang MRT station. So same thing, is about 2 to 3 bus stops away. If you're talking about food establishments, alright, the closest one will actually be the coffee shop that is right next to Florence Residences, among the HDB cluster next to it. Right? But if you're looking at others, or even grocery shopping at NTUC whatsoever, you have to travel all the way to Hougang Mall. So it's not exactly the closest to Florence Residences in terms of amenities. In terms of schools, there are quite a few schools around Florence Residences, Simin Primary being one, Montfort, you have Holy Innocents Primary School, and in terms of secondary school, you have Simin Secondary School. So in terms of schools, choices and variety, there are quite a few. Now in terms of area transformation, there really isn't much to talk about in the Hougang area except for maybe the Cross Island Line that will be built at Hougang Station come 2029. But that is also quite a distance away because it's about 15 minutes walk away. Right? So on overall, if I were to rate the location and accessibility of Florence Residences, it would have to be just a passing mark of 2.5 over 5. Now on to development quality and facilities. Now, Florence Residences is actually developed by Logan Property. Logan Property is actually a very new entrant into the real estate scene in Singapore. Right? They have only one other condo that they have built here, which is Sterling Residences, but Sterling Residences hasn't even TOP yet. So I can't really say how good of a quality the developer provides because we haven't seen it actually being built up yet. Right? But what we can rate on today is based on what kind of thought they went through into the facilities design, landscaping design, so on and so forth. So they boast a club condo concept with about 128 facilities in the entire project, right? Including your 80 meters lap pool, amphitheater with outdoor movie screening, a sparring ring, pavilion, punchbag corner, pool table, so on and so forth. Okay, they also have smart home system in all their units, which they have promised to install, and also they have concierge service to add on to the convenience of all these residents' needs. The landscaping is actually done in a way whereby the landscaping artist calls it a biophilic kind of design, which means it tries to blend human interaction with nature. So I think there's been a lot of thought into going into the design of the landscaping and the facilities. However, because of the lack of experience of the developer in Singapore, I can't give it a very high score. So my rating for development, quality and facilities will actually be 3 over 5. Next, we have competitive pricing. Now for Florence Residences, it has been marketed as a Kovan kind of location, but in actual fact, my honest opinion is that it is still an Hougang locality. So we will be looking at competitors from the Hougang side, and we will also be looking at competitors from the Kovan side. So since its launch, it has sold more than 60% of the development. Alright. However, when they started selling at the start, right, they were selling at about 1,003 to 1,004 per square foot. Now since then, they have already increased prices to about 1,600 to 1,700 per square foot, which is easily a 200 to 300 per square foot increase in prices. So why is this important for buyers to understand? Now it's because if you were to buy now, you will be buying at a much higher price than the initial buyers, and you'll be absorbing the kind of increase in price that the initial buyers have already earned and benefited from. Okay, if you were to compare also with the surrounding competitors, Riverfront Residences, which is actually along the Sungai Serangoon, right, facing the riverside, it was initially selling at 1,200 to 1,300. Since then, he has increased his prices to up to 1,400, maybe some even reaching 1,500 per square foot, right? Even after increasing, it is still slightly cheaper than what Florence Residences is offering right now. They are the same distance to Hougang MRT, about 12 to 14 minutes walk away. So it is a good comparison between these two projects. Now another project you can compare to is also Stars at Kovan. Stars at Kovan actually POP'd last year in 2020, so it's actually not that big of a difference in terms of age with Florence Residences. Now Stars at Kovan is just next to the MRT, it's very close, only 3 minutes walk to the MRT. It's at Kovan side, Kovan MRT area. So prices for Stars at Kovan are now at 1,500, 1,600 per square foot, some even reaching 1,700 per square foot, which is the same price as Florence Residences. So if given a choice as a buyer, right, if I were to look at Florence Residences next time versus Stars of Kovan next time at the same price, naturally you will gravitate towards Stars of Kovan. So by comparing all these new developments in the area itself, for pricing point of Florence Residences, I would also give it just a passing mark of 2.5 over 5. So for potential rental yield, we have to compare with the newer condos that have already achieved their TOP and have already rented out units. So the best comparison, number one, will be Stars of Kovan, like I mentioned earlier on, and Kingsford Water Bay, which is also in Hougang area. So these two projects will be our center of analysing how much rental Florence can get. So Kingsford Water Bay is obviously more closer towards the Hougang side of condos. It's also facing the river. Alright, it's about a 20 minutes walk to MRT, and the rental there going right now for, let's say, their one bedder is going at $1,700 to $1,900 per month. Right. Comparatively, Stars at Kovan, at the Kovan side, very close to MRT, their one bedders are going at $2,100 to $2,500 per month. So Florence Residences is actually situated right in between Stars of Kovan and Kingsford Water Bay. So if I were to give my best estimate of the rental conservatively, it would have to be between $1,900 to $2,200 per month. Now factoring the prices of Florence Residences right now, even for their one bedder, we are looking at a 2.4 to 2.6% rental yield. Now it's not bad in terms of rental yield, but we have to now look at the tenant pool around Hougang area. So Hougang area, if you're looking at the tenant pool, most of the tenant pool will come from the upgraders in the area. For some, if they are looking to buy a new launch and they need to wait a 3-year period, they will find somewhere to rent first. They may rent Florence Residences. Now other than that, they also have potential tenant pools coming from the Lorong Halus Industrial Park and Defu Industrial Park side. So for potential rental yield, you can get a respectable amount of tenant pools from all these industrial sites, as well as upgraded market inside Hougang area. And the rental yield is actually at 2.4 to 2.6%, not too bad. So in terms of the rental, we'll rate it 3 out of 5. Now last one, we're talking about stack selection. So to give you a little bit of a recap, we usually use these factors to analyze stack selection, namely your view, right, your facing, your north, south, east, west facing, the noise level, so on and so forth. Florence Residences, about 30% of the entire project will experience some slight west sun coming at a very small angle into the units. So the majority of the units actually don't experience any west sun, and there's a big portion of it that is direct north-south facing. So that's good for the project. And for most of the units, they are actually quite unblocked if they are outside facing, right? If you're outside facing units, you're either facing the stadium view or the landed view, which is quite unblocked if you are staying at a high enough level, say above level 7. However, one of the downsides is this: the development is situated right next to Hougang Avenue 2, the roadside. Right? So for any units that are facing the road, namely the units at Block 81, 97 and 95, directly facing the road, alright, you may experience some kind of noise pollution, especially if you are staying in the higher levels, because we all know sound travels upwards, right? So try to avoid these if you are buying for own stay. Before we go through into the bedroom types and what stacks are best for each bedroom type, let's take a look at the overall project first. So we'll divide it into 3 different types: the not so ideal stacks, the average stacks, and the most ideal stacks. So as you can see on the screen right now, these stacks are actually the not so ideal stacks. Next are the average stacks, and these are the most ideal stacks. So how do we determine some stacks are not so ideal? It's based on a variety of reasons. Things like whether it's bin facing, whether it's electrical substation facing, whether they are blocked views, very close block to block distance that you can see your neighbors directly opposite you. Is it road facing, so on and so forth. Out of the entire development, you can see these 27 stacks are actually the not so ideal stacks out of 81. So I think this is still a pretty healthy amount of ideal stacks and average stacks compared to not so ideal stacks. So for rating, for stack selection, I'll give it a 3.5 over 5. So now let's get into the stack selection proper. Right, for the 2-bedders, there's actually the classic one and the deluxe one, which is a little bit bigger. If you're going for the 2-bedder classic, the best stacks will have to be stacks 28 and 52. Why? Because these 2 stacks have an unblocked view of the landed area in front of them. However, if you mind the west sun a little bit, alright, you may have to go towards stack 28, because stack 52 might have a little bit of a west sun coming in. For 2-bedder deluxe, there are a few good stacks. Namely stack 34 if you want unblocked view with no west sun, and also 43, 37 and 54 for unblocked view if you don't mind a little bit of an angled west sun in. Okay, if you are someone who loves facilities view, right, stack 40 would be your best stack because it doesn't have any west sun and it has a full 80-meter pool view right in front of it. Now next is the 3-bedroom classic. The 3-bedroom classic, best stack, stack 29 with an unblocked view and no west sun. Right? However, if you don't mind a little bit of west sun, you can go for stack 42 and 55 for an unblocked view towards the landed area as well. So for the 3-bedder deluxe, right, the best stacks would have to be stacks 38 and 46 because it has unblocked landed view, right? But it has a slight west sun coming in. Right? If you don't want any west sun, the only stack you can go for, or you should go for, is stack 30 because it has the pool view right in front of it, the full pool view. So after collating all the ratings from the various 5 factors, our overall rating for Florence Residences is 2.9 over 5. So if you have benefited from this video, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Now what other condos do you want us to review? Leave it down in the comment section below. I'll catch you in the next episode. This is Louis from LoukProp signing off.